Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bree. If you're new here, I live in Kansas Zone 6B and it is July and I'm showing you the garden. July honestly is one of my favorite months and I never thought I would say that until I started gardening. The garden really starts to just go crazy in July, but we are starting early this morning because the heat is a real thing in July. So it's almost 7 o'clock I think currently. So I figured I would jump out here before the heat of the day and get this video started. You guys are going to get sick of me and this trellis by the end of the summer. This is something I only have for like a handful of months of the year and I just think is like one of the most magical things in the world. My loofah plant is just going crazy. I actually thinned this out the other day and you probably wouldn't even recognize, and actually right behind it I have butternut squash. I'll get you a closer up view. This trellis is doing really well. The only thing that hasn't done well was pumpkins. I had vine borer take out the pumpkins I think right after the last garden tour. I think last garden tour I still had them in and I mentioned that vine borer would probably be taking them out in the next weeks. I think it was the next week and they took them out. I replanted those plenty of time, so I have pie pumpkins that unfortunately got hit over here. I also have cucumbers, beans, and cantaloupe, and oh my gosh. So I changed my cantaloupe variety this year. Last year I did a Charente melon, which is like a softball sized cantaloupe. This year I decided to go with like a jumbo giant. I can't remember the name. I'll figure out the name. I'll look up my seeds and I will make sure to put it on the screen or link it below. These cantaloupes are doing so good. I had to put melon cradles up yesterday and yeah, I'm so excited. So if you're new here, I did not do well with trellises last year, but in 2020 I had insane luck with trellises and they were just abundant and lush like this. So fingers crossed, I'm still having good luck. I haven't seen anything crazy this year. So this spring I sprayed with beneficial nematodes like 2 or 3 times. I still had a little bit of issues with grubs and I still had vine borer of course, but I haven't had a lot of my other pests that I normally have. I know we're going, like, it's still early July and we still have plenty of time for this, but I've been really fortunate so far. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip to the front of the garden. So if you followed me last year, you know I have a huge obsession with Goldie Honey Bear sunflowers, and guys, I'm happy to report we have our first bloom. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, this area is just exploding with life. So this corn variety here is a rainbow gem corn. I'm going to be using it for popcorn if everything goes well. So I've only tried to grow popcorn once out of the 5 years I've gardened, and this is way more successful than I was. I guess I got like the weirdest ears of corn my first year and it tasted absolutely terrible. So I did want to try more of a popcorn variety just because I know sweet corn can be a little tricky, but yeah, it is a beautiful variety. I cannot wait. I really hope this produces so I can show you. So that's doing great. On this opposite side here, the okra is really starting to take off. And when people say okra grows fast, guys, so this is the very first year I'm also growing okra. So I wanted to just try a lot of different things that we've been wanting to dabble in, and okra was one my husband really wanted me to pickle, and wow, they grow so fast. So in the morning it can be almost too small, and then in the evening it can be almost too big. Like they can grow so fast. Like, people are not lying with that. These plants are really taking off and the flowers are beautiful. Like, why did no one explain to me that the flowers of okra looked like, I would say like hibiscus-like, but almost not. They're just so pretty. If I have one blooming, which I don't think I do at the moment, I wish I did because I would show you. It's beautiful. I think I took a picture. If I took a picture, I'll post it on the screen if I still have it. So over this arch here, the arch is starting to become full, and this is a pink Bumblebee cherry tomato variety. I got the seeds from Baker Creek. It's doing so well. I'm starting to get a lot of cherry tomatoes, and you guys are going to see a lot of like recipes coming out. I have a lot of like summer recipes with cherry tomatoes and basil and all sorts of things to grab and go from the garden. So I'm really excited to start sharing those because these are like my favorite recipes of summer just because they taste phenomenal. But this whole area is doing really, really well and I'm really impressed. I did have to pull my marigold, which is looking, I have to pull probably my other marigold as well. I think it just gets too shaded out. And the one thing you might be able to tell from the corn is the difference in these Goldie Honey Bear sunflowers and the height. You can also tell the tomatoes go here and these other ones are way up here. So this area is getting a little bit more shaded out in the afternoon, and you can clearly see how that's affecting the growth side by side, because these beds were filled at the same time with the same soil, same everything. So I know what went into these beds was the same, and it was the first year for these beds. So really interesting to see that comparison. So on this opposite side here, you can see I have beans really starting to take off, and I actually have carrots and dill planted over here, and I'm starting to see them all poke through. You probably can't see that on camera, but I went ahead and planted more Mongolian giant sunflowers because I can't have enough giant sunflowers. I currently have 2 and one is starting to form, but like, guys, if you've never grown a really tall sunflower, you have to. You might still have enough time to do it, but I just planted 4 here. I have a bunch of beans. I wanted to plant this all out with beans, but then I just decided not to. That's like the greatest thing about gardening. So strawberries is one I'm not doing bad with, but I'm not doing good with. So if you have strawberry tips, please let me know in the comments below. So these plants have been really abundant and lush with foliage. The runners have been going absolutely crazy, and these beds just get overcrowded really fast. So I actually took about like 45 minutes yesterday and really thinned out this bed a lot because my fruit was just really small. You could tell this bed was just getting really overcrowded. So yeah, I took a lot of plants out yesterday, and I'm really hoping that will make a difference, because obviously these plants are fruiting, they are thriving, they look great, but the fruit's just been really small and tiny. Everything I read explains to thin out. I thinned out about a month ago, but I didn't thin out as much as I did yesterday, so I'm really hoping that makes a big difference. Again, I have fed these as well. The plants haven't been doing bad. I just really haven't been getting like fruit for the amount of plants I'm getting. And again, I fed them now twice. I've cut back the foliage twice. So I don't know if I just need to limit how many I have currently in here still. I don't know. Strawberries have been really tricky. I've had strawberries for 2 years now, and I still have only got like a handful of like really good strawberries. They all taste good. I mean, like when I say good strawberries, I mean like pretty strawberries. A lot of them are ugly, they're small, and I've been struggling with strawberries. So please give me your tips because I need them. So we have a bunch of different herbs, and then we have some carrots, and then these are my Serrano peppers, and my Serrano peppers are actually a little late compared to a lot of my other varieties because I went and I chopped all of these ones back. So my Serranos were not doing well, and I've been playing around with the whole topping and not topping of peppers, and I will say these plants are really lush, they're doing really well, and I have a ton of blooms now, and I'm getting a lot of little peppers. So I think I'm going to be overrun with Serranos come like another few weeks, to be honest. So this trellis is my other tomato trellis for indeterminates. I have some San Morzanos planted on both sides, and then guys, I always let my dill go, and we have about, I think we have like close to like 12. I need to do a full count of swallowtails on this dill, and I actually saw a few swallowtail butterflies throughout the garden yesterday. So I was not seeing bees or butterflies just for weeks, and then out of nowhere they all started coming. But yeah, the swallowtail, I love seeing how big the swallowtail caterpillars get every single day because they grow so fast. And honestly, dill's kind of cheap at the store, and I'm saving butterflies, so I don't really care, whatever. Over here, my yarrow is really starting to take off. You wouldn't be able to tell because I actually just made a bouquet. It was a really pretty bouquet, and I used this as a filler. So pretty, and I actually did harvest some to dry. I really want to make some tinctures with this. I'm actually about to get a little echinacea as well, it looks like, so that's exciting. I have a bunch of zinnias. I just have a bunch of flowers everywhere. You guys, if you are someone like me in the beginning when you first started gardening and you have limited space, I really did not play around with a lot of flowers. I didn't plant a lot of flowers simply because I was trying to grow as much food as I could in like 1 or 2 garden beds. I will say flowers make a big difference, at least in my opinion. So then I have these 3 pepper beds, and people think this is a little obsessive, but I make a lot of salsa and I do a lot with dried peppers. But on top of the serranos, I have cayennes, bananas, paprikas, jalapenos, and bells. And I'm actually starting to get some reddening on my paprikas and cayennes, so I'm gonna be making powders soon, which I'm so excited about. Homemade paprika powder is phenomenal, and if you've never made your own red chili flakes, I highly suggest it. Even if you only like it on pizza, highly suggest it. The flavor is insane. So I do dedicate a lot of space to peppers, but I also use a lot of peppers for spicy pickles and spicy okra now and all sorts of things like that. So I do use a lot of space. I actually think I might have gone a little overboard this year because these peppers are already doing really well, and last year I had a really crappy season with a lot of peppers, unfortunately, so I clearly had to go overboard this year. You know, it's only gardening science. Okay, so I was walking over here to show you guys the next thing, and so yesterday when I was feeding the chickens, I saw a butterfly laying on the ground, so I picked it up and I put it on the celery, and it had a broken wing and it didn't look like it could really fly, and it looks like it's still here, and that makes me really sad. His wing is broken, unfortunately, on both sides. So on this side here, and then on that corner there. I was trying to find you. You want to go over here? Let's put you over on the dill with all your swallowtail caterpillar buddies, because maybe you'll like that better, because that is their host plant. If you didn't know, swallowtails love dill. So let's see if we can put him on the dill. So there's a better view of the broken wing. I mean, you would clearly see how that would probably affect your flight. Okay, well, that was eventful. I was not expecting to see a butterfly. I was shocked when the butterfly let me hold it yesterday. So, oh, that makes me so sad. Okay, so I think do you hear that? So 2 days ago, I got my first egg. I did not get an egg yesterday, so I'm expecting an egg today. Maybe my chicken's laying an egg. I noticed they make like a lot of noise when they lay eggs, because apparently they have to let the flock know. So that's exciting. We'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll get an egg. So the other thing over here, so the onions are actually going to be coming out probably in like a week or two. You can see they're really starting to flop back. Sorry about that. But all of my red ones have conked out. I think I showed you that last week. More have conked out. I need to pull these two today, and then I have one, two more. So my red ones did not do that well, but I honestly think I probably could have planted them in the ground a few weeks earlier than I did as well, but I didn't for some reason. I think it was still pretty early. I planted them out mid March. Maybe I need to plant them out beginning of March. But all of my yellows are doing really well. I hope they get a little bit bigger. My Spanish yellow are doing pretty well. They're about the size of last year. So if they conk out now, I got about the same as last year. I really wanted to get bigger, but we still got time. And then I also just have a bunch of beans. I planted out 2 more beds of beans. Me and my husband really love just fresh garden green beans. The flavor is just unmatched. Okay, so let's count the chickens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I think we do have one in the coop. Hold on. Oh, and that's the one that laid. It may have just laid or is about to lay. Okay, we're gonna wait for her to come down while we talk about tomatoes. She might be a little noisy, but we will see while we talk about this. So I plant majority pace varieties. So the San Marzanos are a pace variety, then these Romas are a pace variety, and I plant majority Romas. So I do a lot of sauce making, and one thing I wanted to tell you guys is obviously your tomatoes are going to be rolling through, and if you only have a handful of plants and you want to do processing, one thing you can do is core your tomatoes out and then just throw them in freezer bags and then just take them out when you want to process them, and it makes it so easy, I promise. I have a whole video on my whole step-by-step processing. I will link, and it shows you that whole thing. I'm gonna make a video on that soon, because again, I'm getting tomatoes constantly. I'm really starting to get them to roll through. They always say that determinates will ripen all at the same time, but that's never been my experience. They ripen a lot at the same time, but you still get continuous fruit for a handful of months. So, okay guys, she came out. Let's go check if we have it. Did she fool me? Okay, well, apparently she made all that ruckus for nothing. We're gonna keep an eye out. That was disappointing. I got really excited. I was really hoping I could show you. I actually just planted out my last few successions of tomatoes. I actually had really bad luck. I've tried to direct seed these few spots a few times, but I'm going to end up having, I think, 4 or 5 different successions of Roma plants, which I'm actually really enjoying, just because I think this space is actually getting a little bit better airflow, to be honest, because I'm not having just insane amounts of plants everywhere. I don't know, we'll see. Last year I had a lot of my tomatoes conk out by August, and so far we're looking really good. I've been on top of my disease game. So one thing I did last year and years prior that I was not the best about was not cleaning my pruners between plants, and I'm going to just say that that has made a huge difference with fungal problems in my garden. It can seem like a pretty obvious thing, but at the same time it was just something I was like, I'll clean them every here or there. No, every plant really does make a difference, because if one plant has a starting disease and you don't know it, and then you go around to all your plants, you're just welcoming to that disease everywhere. So yeah, this is the last area. We finally got the A-frame trellis put up. Was it like 4 or 5 days ago? And I got my last round of pumpkins planted. So I could be kind of late on these pumpkins, guys. So when I planted out these pumpkins, I had exactly 100 days. This is a 110-day variety. 1 and 2, I have about 100 days left of my growing season. I kind of explained that in the beginning, I think. But the thing is, our last expectant frost has been really late the last few years. The last 2 years we've been weeks late. So I'm really thinking that I have enough time, and if I do, these will actually mature like the week before, if not the week of Halloween, which is absolutely perfect for Halloween and Thanksgiving and all that jazz. And I really wanted a second succession for the birds so they could eat it. So even if I only have small fruits at that point, they'll be able to enjoy it, and I'm excited about that. I also have some summer squash, some more mammoth sunflowers, some broom corn, which broom corn is what like those traditional brooms are made out of. I really think it'd be cool to try to make my own broom, but they also produce some really beautiful seeds that you can use in fall arrangements. And oh my gosh, if I can talk this morning. And also I'm going to use it for seed for their feed. So this whole area is starting to come along. I'm sure come like another 4 to 6 weeks you'll really see a difference here, just like you saw a difference throughout the garden space here. So I was about to sign off like 2 hours ago now, and she has been in the coop that entire time, and she just popped out of the nesting box. So I think she may have laid an egg, and I wanted to wait to see if she did. I'm sure you can tell the sun is starting to rise. It's I think like 9:40 now, so that tells you anything. We started at like 6:40, it's 9:40. It's been like 3 hours. I want her to come down before I check for her egg though. So I got roll down nest boxes so they can't like really become broody. So like the moment they lay an egg, their egg rolls into this little area. But like how trippy would that be if you like laid this egg and it was like the first time you like laid an egg, right? And then it just disappeared. I feel like that would be some trauma, but we're just like over here just been like, yeah, that's what we do. Get some water. Hop down. You look thirsty. Yeah, you look thirsty.
Julian over here. Yeah, let her down.
All right, apparently she wanted to jump. little smaller than her first. But nonetheless, still an egg. It's definitely small, but if you didn't know, obviously the first few eggs are small, but oops. You guys, this is the coolest thing. If you can get chickens, I highly recommend it. Also, super hyped because my sister got me like this super cute basket for Christmas and I can finally use it. Man, really, come like another few weeks with these chickens and then also the garden, I'm going to be like flooded with harvest. This is going to be absolutely crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's garden tour with like a sprinkle of chickens. I wasn't expecting to throw the chickens in there today, but I feel like they just decided that they wanted to be part of the video. So I hope you appreciate that. I'll see you guys all next week. Bye!